Are you ready to transform your summer into an epic splash-tastic adventure? Say goodbye to wasteful, single-use water balloons and hello to the ultimate in reusable, eco-friendly fun with reusable water balloons. Check out the link in the video description to get yours on Amazon today.
An infectious diseases expert has weighed in on whether the rash of colds, flus, COVID and other respiratory illnesses Australians have come down with in recent weeks are out of the ordinary, and also offered good news for men accused of looking for sympathy with man flu. While some experts have said a super cold is making Australians sicker than usual this season, others say it is too soon to judge this winter over previous years and that fears over the latest COVID variant may just be a beat up. We're in winter and there are a lot of various viruses floating around. And the trouble is some people can get very sick with the common cold. Professor Peter Collignon, infectious diseases physician and microbiologist at the Australian National University, told Daily Mail Australia. But Professor Collignon said it is too soon to speculate on the overall picture for the 2024 Australian winter season, which the rest of the world looks to as an indicator of what lies ahead for their winters later in the year. So far we're not seeing great excess deaths as far as we can tell compared with a normal winter, he said. Every winter, you see more deaths mainly in people over the age of 80. But so far, it doesn't seem to be any worse this year, so far. Professor Collignon, however, did offer some support for men excessively complaining about how sick they are this cold season while suffering from so-called man flu. Men's immune system isn't quite as good as women's, so they can have symptoms for longer on a biological basis, he said. There is at least some limited data that suggests that men with colds start off the same as women but may have their symptoms linger for a bit longer, probably because their immune system isn't quite as good as females' immune system at the same age. The professor, who was one of Australia's most trusted voices through the pandemic, said some of the perception of there being more sickness around is due to people being more aware of their health after years of COVID. There is also a lot more testing for various respiratory illness done now than in the past. We're doing more testing now because there are what they call multiplex PCR tests available. We're getting viruses now that were there over 10 years ago, but we weren't testing for it. He said the objective way to measure the figures for serious respiratory illnesses are to tally how many people are going into hospital now in different age groups, compared with other years, and how many extra deaths there are. The worst winter we had was 2020 because that was the first year of COVID. I would expect that this year, as judged by deaths or hospital admissions, probably will be an average year. Professor Collignon said people should get the vaccinations available to them. If you're in an at-risk group, and particularly those who are elderly, get vaccinated for influenza, the pneumonia germ and for meningococcal, because it's available for people over the age of 65. And also COVID, if you need a booster and you're in those groups they're recommending to get the shots, which are the older people. He also has good advice for younger people who pick up a virus. If you're sick, keep away from others, try to even keep away from your family as much as practicable, and work from home, if you can, until you are reasonably better and therefore much less infectious. The professor said that the latest COVID variant, known as flu, is not as fearsome or dangerous as has sometimes been reported. The same story is being run every time there's a new variant, the end of the world is coming, and every time they're wrong, he said. The reality is, it's just another variant of Omicron that's been circulating. People have got immunity. Will some people die from it? Yes, they will. Mainly people who are more at risk, but even some others. Professor Collignon said there is a very simple way to look at how bad or otherwise a COVID variant is. If you look at the waves that come as judged by death, flu is much less of a wave. This is going to go on forever, and every year, probably twice a year, we're going to get a new variant. Unless you can show that people are dying at increased rates or the previous immunization or immunity doesn't protect you. I think this is all just a beat up by people probably wanting research grants. He does not oppose the